like Nicholas. I was going to do something I wasn't supposed to do. I am still going to do something I'm not supposed to do. I am still reading an excerpt of something. Normally I try to read something that's complete. But this seemed kind of appropriate, and this is something you're supposed to do. This book is available at Night Carnival. I see what you did. So I'm reading from the Night Carnival, which is a lighthearted romp along the lines of a Ray Bradbury Twilight Zone type of story. This is the second chapter. In the first chapter, you are welcomed to the carnival, and you are guided through the carnival, and you are led to the Red Witch's tent. This is chapter 2. You have entered that tent. Through the flap of the Red Witch's tent, as your guide steps away and lets it fall, it takes a moment for your eyes to adjust to the new level of darkness. Gone are the neon lights and all the ringing and music and roller coastering and screaming of the carnival. Instead, there are the smells of dust, dirt, and decay, a gentle wind rolling across the tombstones, and, yes, granite and marble as far as you can see in all directions. Even the flap of the tent has disappeared. There's no symmetry among the stones. They're not in straight lines. Many of statues or structures, some are no bigger than a carry-on bag for an airplane. Others are large enough to hide multiple rooms inside. The sculptures include ravens and angels and cherubs and vases full of fresh flowers. One of these is filled with a spray of red roses. Their scent is picked up on the wind. You seem decent enough, a voice says. She sounds old, dry, brisk, like she's had more whiskey and cigarettes than in the fever dreams of Janis Joplin. You don't see her, not yet, maybe not ever. A gray fog rolls through the graves. It swallows the sounds of the world and obscures the ravens, sparrows, whippoorwills, and other psychopomps, though you can see their silhouettes shifting through the thick murk. I hate always delivering bad news, the woman says. Her voice comes from a different direction, maybe from above you. You have questions. She's a seer, a fortune teller, maybe born with magic flowing through her veins. She might have been an oracle at another time, but even now she's more than merely a carnival psychic. So many questions about your future, your futures, your fate and destiny sit arid on your tongue. The moon is full as she's going to get, and through the sound swallowing fog, you hear snippets of music. No melody, no song, merely a note at a time, a single instrument, maybe first a bass so that you almost don't even notice it, then a flute. Then a flute, as if in the hands of the master of winds himself, then a violin. All from the minor key, all at the edge of your hearing, all restrained. Pay your dollar, she says. Set the coin on the stone to your left. The stone is irregular, the top of it mostly sloped one way or another, but there's a spot big enough for a single silver dollar, which you happen to find in your pocket. The edge of the stone is rough and sharp. It bites you as you set the coin down. It draws blood from your finger. A drop spills on the coin, another on the stone. It must be a trick of the moonlight, the fog, the incense wafting about you, but the blood looks silvery inside the Red Witch's tent. Now, I'm sure you have questions, she says, deliberately and precisely enunciating every word so that they all come slowly through her throat. I don't care. You want to know of love's lost, where they might have gone. You want to know who you'll meet and what you'll do, and I'll tell you, though the answer will not be to your liking. You almost catch a glimpse of her, the red cape she wears, the hood that covers her head, the long locks of dead gray hair tumbling from it. You don't catch her eyes, not directly, and maybe you're grateful for that. Even the fleeting whisper of a glimpse feels like razors scratching your soul. You'll wake one morning and find yourself alone, the Red Witch says. Or you'll believe yourself to be alone, which is the exact same thing. You'll question the things you did, the things you didn't do, your regrets and failings, just as all of us in time must. But what you want to know, what you're dying to know, the question that is burning deep within your spirit, is when this will happen and what you can do to avoid it. She pauses. Her robes seem to flutter in the wind. You're walking through the graves to keep up with her so her words don't get lost. She's moving in a direction, maybe a particular direction, but it's hard to know where or why. You notice names on the graves and you begin to recognize them. Behind you now, she says, you can do nothing to avoid it. You have a date with the Reaper, with the Lady of Death, with the charred skull, with the Eater of Breath. Nothing you do, nothing you say, no amount of money, no amount of pleading will change this. This isn't what you want to hear, what you came into our tent for. You thought I'd promise happy days and pleasant dreams, prosperity and joy and contentment. These are not the things I promise. This is not why people come to see the Red Witch. Quite suddenly, you do see her eyes. Amber eyes, shaped like a cat's under the shadow of that red hood. Old eyes, ancient, barren, which perhaps witnessed the Sphinx built in Egypt, or the wall built in China. Nations and empires crumble. She lunges toward you, those eyes burrowing into you so you can't even consider evasion. She grabs your arm, pulls your palm toward her. Her hands are leathery, cracked, pale, cold like death itself. She examines the lines in your hand. She grins with crooked teeth you can barely see in the shadows, and slowly she shakes her head. I see you, and you again, she says. I see a bargain you shouldn't make. I see a wicked smile, but he is not your friend. I see the corn, and I see a porcelain mask. She releases your hand, thrusts it back at you as though she's disgusted by the feel or sense of it. Nothing else, she snaps. I see no more. Now go back the way you came, before the spiders get too hungry, before the wolves lose their fear, before the moon herself takes an interest in one or more of your destinies. Then she thrusts a card at you, something like a tarot card. Take this, she says. You look at the image. What does it mean, you ask? The card is labeled Thief and features an exaggerated Art Nouveau pickpocket carrying a wallet and walking away from a pair of gentlemen descending unaware deeper into the card. Nothing, she says. You've lost sight of her. It's a souvenir. Enjoy the carnival.